Welcome to another episode of Seeking Focus, episode 20.
Welcome to Seeking Focus, a podcast that provides photographers and videographers with a place to critically compare technology, share ideas, and enhance their skills.
Hey Marty, how's it going? We're back, episode 20.
It is 20. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I know, it's unexpected. It's pretty good. Did you think we'd make it this far?
Honestly, no.
Yeah. When we hit,
We're still going.
When we hit 100, I'll turn around and say to you, did you think we were going to hit 100? And you'll say, no. And we're still going.
Probably not, yeah.
Yeah. How was your week?
Hectic.
Let me guess. Lots of work.
Yeah, no. You're throwing everything at me at the moment, including the kitchen sink. Can't keep up, mate. But it's a good thing.
I'm just going to have a little whip at the back.
Yeah, that's it.
Actually, on that note, I have a complaint this week from one of my clients about you.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So for those people out there who don't know, I've been sending Marty out of jobs, which I can't do for whatever reason. And he recently did a shoot for me with one of my ongoing clients that I've had for about 2 years now. And I went to the next shoot and they said, oh, we're very disappointed in you, Evan. I said, why is that? And they said, well, Marty was here last time and he brought along that little transmitter thing so we could watch what he was recording.
I remember that, yes.
And I'm like, what? And so basically it's a HDMI transmitter. What brand is it?
Hollyland.
Hollyland, yeah. So you basically took that along. They were impressed with it, and they then complained to me, and then I rang you up and I said, why are you spoiling my clients? What is wrong with you? Next you're going to be buying them coffees and teas. I mean, it's like, stop doing that. But they were completely impressed with it.
Very good.
How long did they actually sit there and look at it for?
Probably about, out of the whole interview, the whole interview was about 1 hour, and they probably checked it out for about 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
So the reality behind it is it's probably not that useful, but it's
you know what? It's I've noticed that though it's an impressive factor.
Yes, you love your impressive factors.
I love my gadgets, man. Simple as that.
You do. Every time you go out, you wow everyone with your gadgets, and then there's me.
My Sony gadgets.
The what? What gadgets? And then there's me following in your footsteps, trying to fix everything up. And then the client's looking at me like, why don't you do it? And I do have my own HDMI transmitter by Acsoon, one of the early ones. The CineEye Series 2 Pro, which is different to yours. But, same sort of concept. Now, that really segues really well into this episode.
Yeah, it does actually. Yeah, you're right.
Because this episode is about the new CineView series, CineView SE, HE, and Quad, which has just hit the markets. So that's 3 different new series that they've released by Accsoon.
Yeah.
And they're called now CineView as opposed to the old one, which was CineEye. So they're trying to distinguish between the two.
Okay. That's a mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah. So this week we're actually having a look at one of their new items that's been released on the market. It's been supplied to us by Videoguys.
Thank you.
So thank you very much, Videoguys. Videoguys.com.au. Big supporters of the show. So thank you very much, guys. And also Accsoon Australia as well. So thank you to both of them. So it's very, very nice. So this is the first time you've seen it. I've literally brought it in for you today.
Yes, I have actually.
And we've done a couple of tests on it, and we're going to discuss what we thought of it and what we've sort of put it through a bit of a trial. But let's start off with, first of all, why did you buy a video transmitter?
Okay, so basically, when I go out on the client site, I guess for me, first impressions are fairly big, yeah. So I'm kind of trying to obviously impress them, yet be quite, how can I say, working, like make sure it works and everything else. So look, the whole thing, the reason why I purchased one, the Hollyland MARS 300, basically just to show people, have it like a monitor. So a director of potentially, photography / the client, whoever else, they see it and they are impressed. buy it.
So it's the wow factor.
It's a wow factor more than anything else. So I'm running it on my little Atomos. What do you call it? The Shinobi, isn't it? 5.
That's Shinobi, yeah. And the
Shinobi,
Ninja.
and then the Ninja 5 as well.
Mm.
So yeah, look, the main thing was basically to impress people and make, which I have obviously done with your client.
Yeah, you have. They have not let it go, and they've also your clapper. They loved your clapper as well.
That's right.
Yeah. So I actually bought one for them, which I'm going to give to them so they can have it in their office.
Wow.
And I don't have to carry it over with me.
It is actually a bit of a pain to carry around, but it is quite a funny fact though, that you can click. And
yeah, but it only works if you've got multiple cameras.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point. It's synchronized, yeah.
But people don't realize that. They just think you need to click. Anyway,
well,
it's the wow factor. It's like when you rock up.
Thing.
Well, you rock up in your Ferrari with the flashing the lights and beeping the horn, so they all come out. And they see the Ferrari with your stickers on it. He doesn't have a Ferrari, just for clarity. Now, I saw yours. I got jealous when you first bought it. I was like, oh, damn, I got to get one of these. I didn't get jealous. I was actually impressed with it, but I went off and bought one as well. Mine was the Accsoon, so a completely different brand.
Yep.
And the reason I got mine was not to show off to clients, unlike you. I actually got it because I do a lot of focus pulling. The type of work that I do is slightly different to yours, very, very similar at the same time. But I actually got a focus pulling, so basically allowing you to focus the camera from a distance. So having one person holding the camera and filming while someone's sitting in the background focusing on a manual focus controller with the monitor and the transmitter. So for me, the big thing back then was I needed to find one which basically gave me a little bit of distance, because the reality is your clients are not going to be too far away from you, but you could be anywhere with the focus controlling. But also in addition to that, I needed someone I needed a unit that basically didn't have any latency. So latency, for those people who don't realize what it is or don't understand the term, it's basically, when you're actually recording the image of someone talking or moving, by the time it gets into the camera, there's a slight delay to the time that it records it, and then it sends a signal to your monitor. So by the time it hits your monitor, there's a very minuscule, but it's there. There's a delay, and then when you transmit that signal to someone else who's trying to pull focus, there's even a more delay there by the time it hits their monitor. And you basically have got these different devices where you can go off and buy units that have got a lot less latency than others. Your one is not one that's very, very good on the latency area.
No, it's not.
And the Accsoon was technically, at the time, a much better unit, had less latency. But in saying that, it's also a budget version of a focus puller. If you want to do proper focus pulling, you want to have something that has no latency at all. But you're looking at a unit that's like between $5,000 and $17,000.
That's right.
Like a Teradek,
yeah.
which unfortunately most people can't really afford.
Yeah, well, unless you're a Hollywood sort of
producer, yeah. They produce some amazing stuff, but I don't have $17,000 for just transmitting a signal
just
to
the wow factor.
Yeah, so all your people are like, oh my god, look at the lack of latency,
Yeah.
So that was the reason I got it. So there was a slight difference there. And it was a bigger unit, had huge antennas on it. It had huge broadcasting range. Now your particular unit only does how many meters transmits for?
So it's 300 feet. So that equates to about 90 meters. So approximately 120 meters. It shouldn't be a problem, right?
That's line of sight.
That's line. Well, okay. So the one that I've got is Hollyland MARS 300 Pro. Okay, now I did some testing line of sight. I actually had around 300 meters with that, not feet, 300 meters. That was in the park. We were testing a couple of drones and everything else, and around sort of 250, 300 meters, it was getting quite degraded, the signal. I think, look, non-line of sight, you wouldn't have a problem within sort of 100 meters, I don't think. You know what I mean? So I think if you are blocked off by trees, potentially, well, not like thick concrete, obviously walls and all that, it shouldn't be that much of a difference. I don't think I had it through thick concrete walls though, so I can't really specify that. But the reason why the whole thing I purchased is so it sits literally 2-3 meters away from me, so the client that I'm shooting for, he's not over my shoulder looking at my camera, not looking at what I'm seeing on my screen. So they've got their own screen. They can sit 2-3 meters away from me, and that's purely it.
So they're out of your hair while
Correct.
you're showing
100%.
off.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So the Accsoon has a range of 350 meters, and that's clear signal in open view. So basically on an open field.
1,000 something feet. 1,100 feet, I think it was.
Yeah, something like that. Offhand, I can't remember what it was. Anyway, but yeah, so it's something huge. So you get more distance with the Accsoon, so that's kudos to them for the distance. And one of the advantages over your system is that they also transmit on 2 signals, so it's a dual band system. And so that means that basically they transmit on 2.5 megahertz and also 5 megahertz from memory, which means that you get a clearer signal. So at 350 meters, you're still getting a very clear signal. So it's clear, it's precise. I'm guessing yours at that point there would be distorting and fuzzy and stuff.
It probably stops transmitting after that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not going to give us anything.
Yeah. So distance-wise, the Accsoon does win hands down. So that was the original one that I got. And so what's happened now is Accsoon's come out with the new CineView. Is it the CineView? I'm getting confused now. CineView, I believe it is. Yeah, CineView series. It's 50% smaller than the original ones, which actually brings it in line with your one. So they're sort of like
Quite
the same
similar,
size.
yeah.
They've released 3 versions. The one we're actually looking at today is the SE, which is the top of the range in that particular unit. They've also got the HE and they've also got the quad. So basically the difference between them is basically a lot of pricing. So the SE, which we're reviewing today, is selling at the moment for about $900. Australian dollars, yeah. There's a sale going on at Videoguys, I believe. So it's about $900. The HE, which is a smaller version, is selling for around $700, and the quad version is $749, so somewhere around there. They're all slightly different. They all do something very, very similar but different at the same time. So the SC, the one we've got, has the advantage of having HDMI in and an SDI in, so you can run it on high-tech cameras, cinema-based cameras, or your standard sort of HDMI cameras like your Sonys.
That's it.
Yours doesn't carry that, does it? It's only got the one HDMI?
Correct.
But it's also got a through, hasn't it?
The Sony, you mean?
The
MARS 300, sorry.
Yes.
Yes, it does have a HDMI only and a HDMI through, yes.
Okay, cool. So
you can have obviously connected from the camera directly to a monitor that I want to see it, and then that monitor, and then
from the transmitter to the monitor.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
The SC, which is the top of the range one, doesn't have that. But it does have a HDMI and SDI. So it's good if you've got like high tech cameras. But if you wanted to have a through similar to your transmitter, you'd want to go for the HE, which has got HDMI in and out, but it doesn't have SDI. So you don't have the best of both worlds there. And then they've also got the quad, which is very similar to the HE in many ways. So, but we're looking at the SE, which is at the top of the range one, and one of the main selling points for it, which we'll be assessing later on, is basically that it's got its latency is meant to be 0.05.
0.05, yeah. So 50 milliseconds.
Yeah, or 5 milliseconds.
No,
it's 5?
50 milliseconds.
50? Oh, yeah, 50 milliseconds. There you go. I can't count.
With drones. I know, mate.
But so that's the top of the range, their selling point. The other ones, the HE and the quad, have got a 0.06 latency, so they're not as fast. So you see a slight difference in what you're seeing on your camera is going to be slightly faster than what the person who's pulling focus is going to be seeing, or your client in your case. But there's a huge range there that they've got. So the 3 different versions. Price wise of your Hollyland, what's the Hollyland going for nowadays?
So the MARS 300 Pro is approximately $800 around Videoguys, and I think the MARS 400 Pro, which is kind of a bit more similar to the Acsoon that we are reviewing at the moment. Yeah, it does have the SDI in. And then obviously the distance is a little bit more as well, not by much obviously, but yeah, the SDI.
Do you remember the price of the 400?
It's around $1,000 as well, Australian.
Okay, so this one's actually still cheaper than the Hollyland.
Yeah. I think Hollyland recently sort of just went up in price a lot more, and I guess because maybe they're getting a bit better, maybe they chuck the prices up a little bit. The Acsoon is I think a better unit overall. What we are looking for around $1,000 mark. Yeah, but I guess at the end of the day, it's what you're going to use it for, right?
Yeah. So look, it depends. I mean, if you're gonna basically have just your clients sitting there, any of them will work fine. Accsoon actually has a really budget version of the transmitters as well, which work on phones and stuff, and I think they're like $200-$300 for them. So if you don't really care about latency and stuff like that, and you just want to show off, you can buy one of their cheaper transmitters and get away with that. Both units, all the Accsoons have a app that basically you can use. It's called the Accsoon Go, that allows you to basically send a signal to mobile phone devices or computers like Macs, but it also allows you to connect up to 4 different other receivers. So you can have 4 people holding receivers looking at it. So you can have everyone in the office holding a camera, like a screen looking at what you're recording if you want to. Or you can actually have it on their phones if they're all running the software. Does yours allow you to do that?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, you just have to download the Hollyland app and then just connect it.
Do you know what the limitations on numbers are?
No idea.
Okay. Anyway, so you can have 4 with the Accsoon, which is pretty substantial. So you can even run them on laptops, I believe. The Mac
you
laptops.
Have to have like an app or
so you have to. It's a Mac. It has to be a Mac, I believe, to run the actual software.
You just download the app, as in like an app store. And install it. Okay.
Yeah, and the actual app itself, there's a lot of features on there which are pro-grade sort of features. I haven't used your app, so I'm not sure if they're there, but they've got focus peaking, so you can actually see that the focus is out.
False color and all.
False color, yeah. So you can also do the color RGB or black and white. I believe that's standard.
That's cool.
Histograms, waveforms, zebras, all the basic stuff. False color. That a lot of these transmitters don't have false color.
I'm pretty sure my one does as well.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does because I've played around with it a while back. I should have probably done a bit more research for this episode, but
come on, Marty.
Yeah.
You weren't to know, were you? You were too busy showing off.
Too busy working.
Always working. But there's markers, there's grids, there's mirrors. You can record to your actual mobile device, your phone. One thing that I actually haven't tried yet, but it's called the onion skin.
Oh, yeah.
So what it does is it allows you to get a photo from the last shoot that you did, and it sort of gives you like a ghost effect. You could actually marry it up from the last shoot to the current one, so you can actually match up your subject so it's in the middle. Now, for me, it's interesting. I probably would never use it, but would you ever use it for?
Yeah, I probably would for my hyperlapses.
So you're setting up everything so it's all pretty much in line. So.
Yeah, so when you're sort of doing a hyperlapse, especially at night, you sort of set up a tripod and then you're trying to obviously focus on one potentially area. So if you're doing like a clock tower, you'll try to focus on the actual clock itself.
And you want to line it up.
And they want to line it up. So this would definitely be helpful to me doing hyperlapses. I don't do any animations, but I know people have started to play around with it in the animation component as well, so they know exactly where their last frame was, and they basically put their little character or whoever else in that sort of space, and they can see it. So that's be useful. But yeah, I mean, look, in the interview component, potentially that would be useful as well, because then if you got someone else on moving locations or whatever else, you can put that person in exactly the same spot where the last person was, right? So that's a kind of beneficial thing.
Okay, cool. It's not something that I have lined up people in the past by looking at old footage and then going back to the screen and trying to figure out where they were and stuff. Yeah. I don't do it too often, but it would be useful, I guess. But it's not probably something that I would sort of go, wow, it's fantastic. But for someone who's doing stop motion and stuff like that, probably very, very useful. Yeah. Also, if you're an iPad user, I believe you can do split screens with the software. So it allows you to multitask. So you can actually run the app, so you can actually see what you're doing, and you can have the script on the side. So it's screen sharing, which
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, for a Mac user, I'm not a Mac user, so it's absolutely no use to me at all. That is purely for the Mac. And the one thing that it does have, which is actually very, very interesting for me, is live transmission. So you can do live broadcasting from the transmitter. So you can actually set it up to your mobile phone. And from your mobile phone, you can have, like, say, for example, you're at a wedding. You could be filming the wedding, and it could be transmitting to your mobile phone, and your mobile phone will be transmitting to the internet.
Right. Okay.
So
it's like live streaming.
Live streaming straight from the camera using the actual transmitter. So that's actually something that Accsoon released with the earlier versions of their product, the CineViews. But they had problems with the software originally, and I was actually part of the testing. They called me up and they asked me to help out, which I was surprised by, but I was quite willing to help out. The software was very, very Mac specific at the time, because Android phones have a problem with receiving a signal and transmitting at the same time.
Right.
So it was very much Mac, but now supposedly it actually works on both of them. I haven't had a chance to test it because we only just got this, and it's basically the sample one. So don't know if I'll get a chance to, but it's meant to work on both of them. So that's a huge, big step.
Yeah.
Does your one allow you to do any live broadcasting?
Honestly, I've got no idea.
Okay, but
I'll probably look. Let me. I might put it in the show notes to see if it does. I do obviously. It does have a lot of features as well, and the Mars 300. I mean, we're not really comparing apples with apples here, but it is loaded full of features as well. I mean, both of them obviously opposition to each other. So Acsoon and Hollyland are very similar in different companies, obviously. But yeah, I don't know that question.
Yeah, but during the lockdowns that we had many moons ago, which is actually not wrong, a lot of people were basically doing live streaming, and they were bringing in live streaming desks and, multiple cameras and mixers and, laptops and everything.
Yeah.
That was one of the features that the original Accsoon that I had was able to do, but just not on a
So is
Android
that
phone.
what attracted you to it?
It did. Unfortunately, it wasn't for... it wasn't basically for Androids, so which they were trying to rectify at the time, and they made quite a few efforts.
It's funny how they obviously, the manufacturers, they do obviously some things for Apple and then other ones for Android. You know what I mean? There's a number of things that I have for my FPV droning stuff, and it only works on Android. It doesn't work on Apple, and it's frustrating. You know what I mean? Why can't just they've obviously spending a hell of a lot of money on this stuff, and why can't they just basically go bump and then have it on both platforms? You know what I mean? Simple.
Yeah, well,
not simple, but simple.
Yeah. But they've done it supposedly, so that's something I'm really looking forward to trying out if I get a chance to. So now looking at the SE, which is the one that we're actually testing out today, by comparison to the other ones that the lower budget ones, there's a number of different things on it which are actually beneficial, but there's also quite a few substantial things which are identical. They all run 1080p 60 frames per second, so they transmit clearly. You can actually record that as well on your device. It's probably not going to be as good as what it is on your camera. Dynamic range, all the rest of that sort of stuff, but it's still quite good. They've all got OLED displays. Their weight range is, I believe they're about 210 grams.
Yeah, so the Hollyland is a little bit lighter.
It is. The Hollyland is lighter, but there is a reason for that. We'll get into that in a minute. The 210 grams is the weight without the antennas on. So basically, that's probably going to be...
Why would they do that? Like something like you're not going to be running the thing without any antennas. You
I don't
have
know.
to have an antenna, right?
A lot of people do that. This is your car. It weighs this much without the petrol tank.
Yeah.
And no fuel.
Or without 100 litres of fuel.
And no tyres and no oil in the engine.
Like, what's the point?
Yeah, so a bit of a weird one, but so anyway, 210 grams. Look, it's not super light, but there's a reason for that. Like we said, yours is lighter. And the reason for it is because the body on the Acsoon is solid aluminium.
Yeah.
And the reason they've done that is because they're using the body as a heatsink. So
there's no fan on it.
There's no fan on it. And as we discovered, your units will actually basically have a fan in them. And whilst we're playing around with them, we could actually hear the fan, and it was actually quite loud.
Yeah.
So it was so loud.
Like, you're right. It was quite loud, and I mean, the only reason why that will affect you if you had an onboard mic,
Yeah, if you had an onboard mic.
Shotgun or... No, not shotgun.
Shotgun, shotgun.
Okay.
Or if the subject matter, even if they're wearing a lapel microphone, was close to you.
Yeah.
Because that was actually reasonably loud.
Come on, man. I mean, how close would they have to be, though? I mean, you're not going to be shooting them more than around meter and a half, maybe 2 meters.
Well, it's actually interesting you should say that, because when we were testing it out, we were running it on the Ninja V with the fan inside. And the Ninja Vs, if anyone's used them,
they're quite loud.
They are loud. I'm thinking that unit that you had, your unit was actually almost as loud as that. So if you're running a Ninja and you're running that unit together, it's going to get really loud.
Yeah, it possibly would
And
be.
you would hear it. I mean, I've done recordings of interviews and people can actually hear the actual
hum.
the hum from the thing. So it would be a little bit annoying. So the Hollyland has actually got no fan and it's completely silent.
No,
Yeah.
Acsoon.
Acsoon, sorry. Did I say Hollyland?
Yeah, you did.
It's getting confusing. So the
Yeah,
Acsoon has no fan in it, and it basically the body acts as a heatsink. So the body is made of alloy. Your ones are made of plastic.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of plastic and alloy, but yeah, it is mainly plastic. I think it is.
Yeah. Look, I mean, you're not going to go around dropping it on the ground, I guess.
Well, yeah, and it's like you're gonna, like your client's gonna look at it. Oh, nice aluminium or whatever else. Like, who cares? You know what I mean? But yes, the fan obviously might be a bit of an issue. Yes.
Yes. So that was a bit of a downfall. Antennas wise, these are small. The antennas on this particular unit are screw-ons, and they're smaller than the original Acsoons, but they are still substantial. There's 4 of them for the different transmission. They don't fold. They're perfectly upright. They look sturdy. They look very, very strong. And I'm hazarding a guess here. I haven't tried hitting them, but they look like they could hold up on the beating. Your ones and other ones like the early Acsoons look a little bit flimsy.
No, they look pretty cool. I do. It does look. If you put it on your rig, it does make it look tough. Put it that way. That's what it's about, isn't it?
It's all visuals, all visuals there. But yeah. So look, the antennas wise, it's one of those things. Pairing the units. Now I've never tried pairing yours, but this was literally it's got a dial on the side of 20 channels.
Yep.
You tell it what channel you want to be on, and you just switch it on, and it's paired automatically.
Yeah.
Bang! You don't have to do anything.
Yeah, my one as well. So there's got a little lever on the side as well, and then you sort of flick it up or down, and then adjust the channel.
I think that's
similar.
fantastic because if something happens, you're filming and there's distortion or whatever, you can actually quickly change channels, and it's not a big deal.
Sure.
Previous versions that I've seen of these transmitters, you have to actually go into a menu, a sub menu, and find that channel, and then change it, and then pair it, and it becomes a bit nightmarish.
Yeah.
This is just a quick dial, just turn it, bang, it's ready to go. So that huge plus there. Power consumption. Now, I'm not sure about the Holylands, but the power consumption on the SE is only 3.5 watts, and that's pretty much in line with their earlier CineView 2 Pros. The HE and the Quad actually use a little bit more power. The HE uses 4.2 watts, and the Quad uses 4.5. So there is a slight difference. And just with the Quad, the big difference with the Quad compared to the other two is that the antennas fold down. So if you want to have a unit where you don't have to keep plugging the antennas in and screwing them in and carrying them around separately and so on, the Quad is actually a really good option. So definitely worth one to consider.
I just did a quick search on my laptop. The power consumption for the Hollyland is 6 watt.
Whoa, double. The Hollyland chews through the power compared to these.
Saying that though, I mean, I've used them a lot for my overhead cam for my YouTube channel. When I'm building drones and whatever else. And I must say they've lasted for a long time.
Well, it depends on which battery you're using.
Well, I'm talking about the little ones. The
little ones actually lasted, did they?
Yeah, they lasted for a couple of hours.
Well, in that case, that would mean that on the Acsoons that lasts twice as long.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Cool.
One of the other things that the Acsoon also gives you is the ability to transmit in 3 different types of signal. So you've got HQ, so high quality, normal transmission, speed being obviously you get the image across, but it's not going to be the best quality. So speed would probably be more appropriate for when you're doing focus pulling. Because the person who's doing focus is not really going to care about how beautiful the image looks. Yeah. They're just trying to see what's happening so they can focus in time. So you can actually do HQ. So normal depends on if you're like streaming to the internet, you probably want to go normal to speed. If you're actually basically sending it to a big screen so people can watch it in the next room or whatever, probably HQ is the way to go. So that's a nice little touch.
I wonder if the latency makes a difference if you sort of stream it on less. So like if you stream it on 720p, would the latency make a difference? It
would make slight difference. So that's what these are designed for. The speed one is basically the quality is just not there. It's just a really, really basic image, and it speeds it up. Now, ultimately, the big selling point of these particular units is the latency. So they're marked up as 0.05 or less.
0.05 0.05. You're right.
Yeah, so
15 milliseconds.
it's confusing. You've got to write
We've
it
said
down.
that before. Yep.
Yeah. It's meant to be that or less. So that's the selling point for the SE. It's actually meant to be the fastest one they've ever produced. And that had me excited, I have to say. That was when I saw it, I was like, wow, that's amazing. It's really, really good. And obviously, we can't go off and, basically review a product without actually testing it. So we did a bit of a comparison just before the show. We had a camera out, we had the Accsoon, and then we also had the Hollyland. And, well, it was surprising.
It was surprising.
It was surprising.
So my Hollyland 300 Pro is 0.08.
Yes.
And this one here is 0.05.
Yes. So
and
technically,
what did we find?
This should be faster.
Yeah, it should be.
And the reality behind it, 0.05, 0.03, it's like it's not much of a difference, but it is
much of a mouse fart.
pretty much. But I don't know about you, but I was expecting to sort of put it on and just go, wow, be blown away by the lack of latency issues, and and I have to say, for me, it was disappointing. I hate saying it. I actually really wanted this to be a super duper product, but the latency wasn't that much faster. In fact, I was struggling, and mind you, it wasn't a scientific test that we did.
No,
we're moving around in front of the camera,
That's
and
right. And I'll post that on the Instagram, so if anyone wants to have a look.
So the latency was very similar. So that in itself was somewhat disappointing.
Yeah.
So look, I was expecting more, and
that's what I'm wondering. Like, if we had it in a 720p rather than 1080p. Would that make a huge difference?
But was yours running in 1080p or 720?
It was 1080.
Yeah, so it would have been the same. And look, it wasn't as fast as I would have wanted it to be. But at the same time, we have to keep in check that these are $900 or $700, $800, $900 units, as opposed to $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 units.
Totally.
And you got to put it in perspective. It's like you're trying to compare your Nissan Datsun or whatever against the Ferrari. It's not going to be the same thing. You'd like it to be, but it's not going to be. And maybe I went into this with high hopes. So
sounds like you did.
Yeah, I did. I was. Yeah,
See, the thing is, for me personally, I probably wouldn't use it. The SDI ports, they wouldn't make any difference to me because everything's running through HDMI.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But that's for people who are doing SynCam stuff.
Correct. Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like, for normal videography, kind of, if I want to do like a doco or short or whatever else, I'll definitely say, hey, Evan, give me some Black Magics. You know what I mean? And then use SDI for that. For the Sony,
it really comes down to the type of camera you're using.
It is true, very much. Yeah.
Look, I was excited about the SDI because it is something that you don't really get at this price point. So it was exciting to have that feature there. So that was a big plus. I guess comparison wise, if I was to buy, the Accsoon compared to the Hollyland, for example. Yeah, I'd still probably go the Accsoon. Actually, to be honest with you, I would go the Accsoon. I don't like fans. Fans are
that's a big thing for me as well.
Yeah, because I've had problems with the monitor alone having noise. Having more noise is just going to be another issue. The sturdy construction, the alloy, and the antennas, big selling point for me. The lack of chewing up battery, also a big selling point. The ease of use, it really, literally, you press on and it's working.
Yeah, totally agree.
In saying that, the Hollyland's pretty much in the same vein when it comes to ease of use. I didn't see you struggling there to connect the two together. So, but yeah, look, I mean, overall, I think depending on which one you want. I mean, if you want HDMI in, HDMI out, you go for the HE. And also, it's really worth noting that a lot of monitors, like the Shinobi, for example, only has an input. It doesn't have a through.
True.
If you're using the SE on a Shinobi, you're stuck because basically there's no way of actually getting the signal from the monitor to the actual transmitter or the transmitter to the thing. If you're using the other one, the Ninja V, thank you. I keep forgetting that name for some reason. It's not really hard, not hard to remember, but I keep forgetting
Ninja 5.
Ninja 5, yeah. That has a through, so it's not a problem, and that's what we're using today. So if you do need to have that through and you don't have it on your monitor, go for the lower versions of it because that does have the through on the transmitter. But look, for me personally, yeah, I would say the Accsoon is one that I would go for, and especially in the price range.
Yeah.
When it comes to focus pulling, would I be able to use it for focus pulling? For what I do, yeah, I could. I'm not doing action movies. I don't need to be precise to the millisecond. So yeah, I could do it. But if I was doing action and stuff, probably not. But that's not the style that I use. So it would work for focus pulling. It would work for wowing your audience. So it does everything that I needed to. What do you
Look,
think?
for the price difference, I'd definitely go for Acsoon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Mars 300. I've looked on the website and it was like $800 for that price. Like for extra couple of dollars, like literally $200 extra, less than $200 extra. The Acsoon does have a bit more punch. You know what I mean?
And it's also
Got
don't
a
forget the
footage.
350 meters of clear.
Yeah, well,
view.
that's right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's another factor that you've got to put into it as well.
Yeah.
The other ones on the market, this Accsoon has the greatest distance when it comes to this in the price range. I should add, has the greatest distance. So that's another factor you need to consider.
If I was on the market right now for it, I'll definitely look into that. And I think look, I'll probably go for that one. Yeah, it's because I've had my one now for probably about 4 or 5, close to 3 to 4 years actually. Before COVID, I think I got it. I can't remember now actually. But look, for what it is, it's pretty good. You know what I mean?
And also the live streaming abilities as well, the software that they've got.
Yeah, there's a couple of good benefits to it. And and I'm obviously, if you rock up to a client site with all the gear and everything else, you can charge them extra couple $100, I'd say.
So would you say that it would be more impressive if I bring my old Accsoon with the giant antennas out, the massive antennas, more so than this one because it's so small?
Yeah.
So maybe I should connect up 2 of them on either side.
Now you're talking. Look, I think the more antennas you've got, the better.
Yeah, I might stick some on top of my head as well, like a peacock. Like a peacock just walking.
I agree.
I'm here. I'm here to film you. I'm here.
But it looks cool though, I must say.
Yeah. One thing that I'm a little bit disappointed about, and I always find something to be disappointed about, other than the latency issue. What I am actually disappointed about is still it's very centric towards a Macs. So the software is still designed for Macs.
Yeah.
There is a Mac side to everything that they produce. The multi-screening is not something that they can do on a PC.
Cry me a river, mate.
Oh, look, I'm just not a Mac sort of person. So,
But you know that you do understand that. I'll probably say 70 to 80% of people that are doing video, they're going for Mac.
I know, I'm different. I'm allowed to be different.
No, look, it's my Mac is getting a bit old now, but it's definitely can chew through good videos. You know what I mean? So yeah, look, they're expensive, but they work.
There you go. So very big thank you very much to the video guys for once again sending us something to review, and also Accsoon, thank you very much for also supplying the gear. We've tried to be as realistic as we can be and honest. Honesty is a very important thing in reviews.
Well, we're not getting paid for this. We're just borrowing it for a week or 2.
Oh, 2 weeks, yeah.
2 weeks. we gotta use it up more.
Yeah, I'm gonna go try and do some live broadcasting on it now.
There you go.
But yeah, so thanks very much to them for the support of the show. Thanks to everyone else who's listening out there for listening in again on the 20th episode.
Yeah. 2-0.
Pop.
Yeah,
and yeah, we'll be back soon, I guess. Another fortnight.
Try to smash it out a little bit more and try to get a couple of episodes uploaded.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, isn't it?
That's it.
That's it.
That's pretty straightforward, mate.
That's actually been one of our shortest shows in a very, very, very long time.
How long we're sitting on?
39 minutes.
Wow, nice. All right, and let's stretch it out to 40 minutes.
So people now, you've got an extra couple of minutes. You can go out there and go for a jog, take the dog for a walk.
Right. Hey, check out the socials because I will be posting a few photos of the setup that we've got. So what setup do we have here?
It was a monstrosity.
It's your setup though. So what is it?
Okay, so basically I brought in my Blackmagic action camera, not normal 6K or anything like that. So it was only
It looks very tiny to me.
It is.
It's a little bit bigger than GoPro though.
Yeah, so when you strap all the accessories onto it, like the follow focus and the monitors and the transmitters, it starts looking hideous. But it was just for testing purposes, so we thought we'd bring
what Blackmagic is it though? I don't even know.
That's the
Uh-oh,
it's the action
he
camera
doesn't
one. It's just the
know.
action camera one. It's designed for drones. I thought you'd be impressed by it because
Yeah,
you
I
love
am.
your drones.
I am. I think this one's only the 1080p though, right?
It is a 1080p. They've
Yeah,
got the
okay.
4K version of it as
Yeah.
well, but this is 1080p. I don't really have any real use in having 4K.
Yeah.
If I want that, I just bring out the
Yeah.
6K.
And what
cameras.
lens you've got on that?
Mikey, that's a Mickey, Mikey, whichever way they pronounce it. It's a 16mm. It's actually a really nice cine lens. It's a
looks good.
it's a cheap budget one.
Yeah.
This is the camera that I sort of leave at home, and basically, if the kids are having a birthday party or they're outside playing on the trampoline, I just bring it out. It's small, fits into my hand.
Yeah.
You press a button, it's on. Batteries last forever,
good.
and but it looks monstrous with all the stuff that we've stuck onto the top of it
We've
today.
stuck 2 monitors to it, the Acsoon,
Yeah,
and a few batteries there, I see.
I
And
think the batteries are bigger than the camera.
that's good.
It's got 2 monitors as well.
It does, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not sure why, but okay.
Because my monitor doesn't have through.
Yeah, that's right. Oh well, that's good. All right, beautiful. Sounds like a plan. And go out there and buy one to impress your clients.
Yeah, be a peacock. Be a peacock.
That's right.
Take care, guys.
Take it easy. Thanks for listening.
Take
All the
care.
best.
Bye.